Tim Beasley, ER nurse, McKinney, Texas, died of COVID-19 January 5. He was on the medical team that evacuated neonates out of Charity Hospital during Hurricane Katrina. Cowboys fan. Tim suffered a heart attack, stroke, kidney failure, and respiratory failure. Eugene Mcfeely, 64 years old, pediatric nurse, at Ventura Med Center, Florida, died of COVID-19 September 8. He practiced unconditional love, compassion, and kindness, humor, mischief, and the satisfying benefits of a good curse word. Kwang Dai Bu, 41 years old, physical therapist, Aldie, Virginia, died of COVID-19 12/31. He leaves behind his beautiful wife, 13-year-old son, 7-year-old son, and 3-year-old daughter. Kwang was the sole income provider for their family. Like true heroes, they gave their lives for others. They are memorialized on a Twitter feed called U.S. HCWs Lost to COVID. The tributes to these fallen healthcare workers number in the thousands and stretch back to the beginning of the pandemic in March. There are several honor rolls of selfless healthcare workers and first responders. This is perhaps the biggest, kept by Dr. Claire Rezba of Richmond, Virginia. In a society where a large percentage thinks nothing of this healthcare war or even whether the virus exists, it's become the duty of Dr. Rezba to celebrate these health workers and their sacrifices. Incredibly, researching on her own in her spare time, she routinely uncovers deaths among healthcare workers that are unacknowledged by authorities. I asked her about the variety of people that she finds.
Well, it's actually a very wide range. I think I have folks from the ages of 20 up to their early 90s. I think 91 was my oldest, that were still practicing in some way. I think if I had to do an average, I'd put the average in their 50s. But, it skews a lot younger for healthcare workers than it does the general population. I think it's really important because it shows what will happen when young people are clustered together and exposed to high viral loads. They have children, they have families, they have people that really depended on them still. There's a pretty wide racial demographic. I think it does skew more towards people of color. I have an overabundance of Filipino healthcare workers, healthcare workers of Filipino descent. Is an overabundance of indigenous healthcare workers as well, given what I would expect for their population, their general population. I have more than I would expect. This isn't really a demographic, but for physicians, I have way too many psychiatrists for what I would expect and a lot of primary care doctors. More primary care doctors and psychiatrists than intensivists, which is surprising.
Yeah, right. And pre-existing conditions versus non-pre-existing. Are you finding a lot of people without?
I'm finding plenty of people without pre-existing conditions. I don't know the health history of every single person that I come across, but I find a fair amount of posts where the family members are specific and they say they were healthy. They were totally fine before this. I have several people that were running marathons within the year of their death. These are healthy people. I mean, obviously some of them aren't, but they're healthy enough to keep working. They're all working, right? They're all working members of society.
Right.
They had diabetes. It doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Cool. So can you, in closing, do you have any messages you want to get across?
I just really want people to take it seriously. That healthcare workers have been dying for 10 months of this virus because our patients won't take it seriously. Just, wear your mask. It's your turn to get the vaccine. Get the vaccine. We need to take care of each other.
Dr. Sandra Arrington, NICU Unit Clerk, University Hospital, Newark, New Jersey, died of COVID 12/7. Over 20 years service at her hospital. With a quick joke and great laugh, she was recognized as the unofficial mayor of University Hospital. She is missed deeply by all of her family. Julia Thomas, 71-year-old respiratory therapist and instructor, Gulf Coast State College, Florida, died of COVID-12-17. Some of her former students would provide care for her during her struggle with COVID. The school started a scholarship in her name. Pablo Hernandez, transport, St. Bernardine's Hospital, San Bernardino, California, died of COVID-16. He made you laugh with sarcastic humor, dad jokes, and endless memes. His ugly cry topped Kim Kardashian. His coworkers escorted his body. Jerome Arsenal, 50-year-old registered nurse, Memorial Hermann Health Center, Houston, Texas, died of COVID-8-28 after putting up a very brave fight on a ventilator. He loved fishing and had a large, loving family who really misses him right now.